Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a little bit of a look at all of the cards from Dark Fantasma that for whatever reason we haven't got round to having a look at yet. There are a bunch of them, and we're going to have a look, and who knows? Maybe there's some hidden gems in here. Give a lovely shout out to the lovely Joe from Cerebi.net before we get rolling, because that's where we got our translations from. And Cerebi is a good website to use for Pokemon TCG stuff, and Joe's a rather lovely fellow. So yay! Go Cerebi! So let's start off today then having a little bit of a look at Beautifly. Also, if I did accidentally look at some of these in the past and forget about it, let's just all move on and pretend I didn't, and we can just get on with our lives. So Beautifly then, what we've got coming in here is a rather nice ability, whereby once during your turn, you may draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. The attack is 70 for 2 energy, heal 30, let's not worry about that. And the fact of the matter is, on the one hand, this is quite good, and on the other hand, it is completely outclassed by Bibarel. And yes, I know that this draws till you have 6 in your hand, and Bibarel draws until you got 5. Bibarel's a stage 1. And that's basically it. And I'm sorry to make it that simple, but it really is that simple. Sure, I would love to get the extra card every turn, who wouldn't? But stage 2 over a stage 1, when you're looking at draw power, you know, firstly, this means you don't have to get stuff like rare candy in your deck, and you don't have to play a full stage 2 line, so there's more space in your deck. Secondly, it means that you're probably getting this done a turn earlier, etc. It has to be way better than the stage 1 equivalent to be played over the stage 1 equivalent, and it's not. Moving on, we can have a little bit of a gander at Abomasnow, and Abomasnow here is everything you might expect from a stage 1 that doesn't have an ability, and I've not yet talked about. It's fine. 140 HP is quite high for a stage 1, that's quite nice. But 2 energy, 50 damage on a stage 1, it doesn't work. I don't like the 2 energy, but I could get around it if we were doing enough damage, but we're not. 2 energy 50 isn't good enough, sorry. We've then got 3 energy 160, which is fine, but then you also do 30 to yourself. And when I'm looking at something like Hisuian Arcanine, that does 160 for 0 energy, and it's a better weakness, it's a no-brainer. Yes, I am fully aware that Hisuian Arcanine means you've got to have a 0 card hand in order to use it, but emptying your hand compared to having free energy, I'd take that, ladies and gentlemen. I will take it. Sorry. Staying with water, though, there is a new Fione that we can have a little bit of a gander at. And Fione's got single energy 20 damage. And I think we can all agree that single energy 20 damage with nothing else, you know, throw in a bit of confusion or a bit of sleep, maybe we can talk. But there isn't. So we can't. So we're left with 1 water energy, search your deck for up to 3 basic water Pokemon, put them onto your bench, shuffle your deck. And the fact of the matter is, in a water deck, I could totally see this working. I could totally see this seeing play. Because the fact of the matter is, we see this with Sobble. And look, I know that comparing this to Sobble is not necessarily that fair, because Sobble's not just got an attack that can get extra Sobble, it can get any Rapid Strike Pokemon, and then of course it evolves into the really good Drizzle, and then it can evolve into one of 2 really good Inteleon, and I know it's not the same. But the fact of the matter is, early game, you know, turn 1 going second, etc., in a water deck, searching out your water Pokemon, that could absolutely work. Now there is a new Rotom coming along in this particular set, and what we've got with the Rotom is free energy 80 damage, and again, the less said about that, the better. I don't want to put free energy on an 80 HP Pokemon, and if I do, I definitely want to be doing more than 80 damage. But then we've got single colourless energy, shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 6 cards. And this is another one of those that I could see working. I could absolutely see this one working. I don't think it's stunning. Let's be clear. I don't think it's some kind of new staple that's going to be in every single deck. But I do know the only real alternative we've got here, at least time the rotation hits, because there isn't the Magina from Vivid Voltage, but that's firstly metal energy rather than colourless, and secondly, it's rotating. It means we've got the Love Disc from Evolving Skies, which is shoving a hand into your deck and draw a card for each card in your opponent's hand. You're matching their hand size, which isn't actually always ideal, because if they've got a small hand, you're going to end up being a little bit disadvantaged. Again, we're not talking about some massive game-breaking attack, and I'm not pretending that we are, but we are still talking about a useful attack that can help you get set up in the early game, and I kind of like that, honestly. This is one that could see a bit of play here and there in some decks. Now, we did mention Clefairy previously. Clefairy is awesome. Clefairy, as a reminder, lets you, as long as Clefairy is active, attach a psychic energy from your deck to each of your bench Clefairy, and it is not limited to once per turn, just once per Clefairy per turn. What that means is, theoretically, if you've got 4 Clefairy in play, and you can get each of those Clefairy into the active, you can accelerate 12 energy from your deck during your turn. That's ridiculous. You've then got free energy, and you do 20 free psychic energy attached to all of your Pokemon. There's a fun little rogue deck here, but even if you're not actually playing it as a Clefairy deck, just play, 2 or 3 Clefairy, and then all of a sudden you can just get that energy acceleration for any deck. That's really kind of cool. Clefairy, I like. Clefable, I don't. Free energy, 90 damage, no. Just no. There's nothing really good about that. And then we've got a really weirdly hyper-specific ability. Your opponent's Dragon Pokemon attacks deal 30 less damage to your Pokemon. And when we say that, we mean all of your Pokemon. But then, it doesn't stack. You cannot apply more than one of this ability at a time. So you can't have, 4 Clefable out and reduce damage done by 120. You're only ever reducing it by 30. And the fact that it's a stage 1, the fact that it's only reducing damage from Dragon, etc., no. I'm sorry. I do think Clefairy is really sneaky good for accelerating energy, but I think Clefable is, well, I kind of want to say garbage, but I don't want to be rude. Moving on, we can have a little bit of a look at a new Chime Echo coming in here. And we got 2 energy, 30 damage, which is not exciting. But we've also got Dreamy Timbre. If your opponent attaches an energy to the defending Pokemon from their hand during their next turn, the defending Pokemon is now asleep. Yeah, that's kind of cool. The thing is, your opponent can play around this. They can attach to their bench and come active. Or they can use an energy attachment not from their hand, from a supporter or something like that. It's awkward, it's annoying, it might slow them down, but I also think it's fair to say it's not amazing, but it is kind of fun and annoying, and you might be able to get some amusement out of it. Sudowoodo comes along with phenomenal Akira Agawa artwork, and the more I see of this artist, the more I think, yeah, that's pretty top tier. And what we've got here is single energy, 20 damage. Before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. It's fine. If you're really worried about tools and you're playing fighting energy, obviously this is cool. And it's particularly good against Honchkrow V that can have 4 tools attached to it. But I think most of the time, just discarding tools and doing 20 damage for 1 energy is not going to be enough. We've then got 2 energy, 50 damage, and your opponent can't retreat. And again, this can be useful. Stop them retreating, whittle away while they're not able to attack, so they've not got energy or whatever it might be. It's fine. But we've seen lots of stop them retreating attacks, and I don't think this is among the best. It's 2 energy, and you only do 50 damage. I think it might not be enough. But hey, speaking of Honchkrow, there is a new Honchkrow in the set. What have we got? Well, we've got triple draw. Draw 3 cards! Yay! But it's on a stage 1. If you let me draw 3 cards for 1 colourless energy on a basic Pokemon, then I can start getting a little bit excited. Give it to me on a stage 1, much less excited. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. For what it's worth, you generally don't get to draw free cards on a basic. It tends to be a stage 1 or have some kind of downside. So the Hitmontop from Vivid Voltage, which is going to be rotating about when this comes out, lets you discard a card from your hand and draw free cards. But it's a basic Pokemon, so I much, much prefer it. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is not it. But then we've got an attack for 1 darkness, 2 colorless energy that does 120, and you may switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Murkrow. The problem is you can only switch with a benched Murkrow, which seems weird to me. Plus, Murkrow's got low HP, so you're then just going to get KO'd. So cheers for that. And 120 is not exactly a huge amount of damage, so you're talking free energy on a stage 1, and you're only doing 120, and then you got to switch into Murkrow, which might as well just be, hey, give your opponent an easy prize. And once again, we're left with a Pokemon that could have been interesting, but ends up just being a bit disappointing. Toxicroak is another stage 1, single energy, 30 damage, meh. 2 energy, 120, during your next turn, this Pokemon's dive uppercut attack, that is, the one we've just used, does 50 more, so now it's hitting 170. Problem is, 170, even when you had a choice bout, goes up to 200, which still doesn't hit the magic number of 220 to get KOs on Pokemon V. And if your opponent switches Toxicroak with one of your bench, then this goes away and you have to start again. So now you're not doing 50 more next turn. For what it's worth, the way this generally works is the first time you do 120, and then you do 170, 170, 170, 170. You don't do 120, 170, 220, 270. It doesn't keep going up by 50, but you also have to stay in the active, and as soon as you move out of the active, it resets. So you don't have to go 120, 170, 120, 170. It is always 170, but you've got to stay in the active, and it's too much. It's another one of those that's kind of close, and then actually, no, it's just not close enough. But a moment ago, I was praising the art of Akira Igawa. Well, there is another fantastic card they've gone and illustrated. It is the new Bronzong. 2 energy, 30 damage, nope. 1 metal, 2 colorless, 40 damage, plus 40 more for each colorless energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. Okay. So essentially, if you can just increase their retreat, then you can be hitting some decent damage. You know, I'm hitting weakness on stuff like Whimsicott, and for a very short period of time, we're still going to have Gallarmine. So there's an argument here. Increase the retreat cost by 2, and then all of a sudden, if you're against something like Whimsicott, then you're doing 140, which double with weakness will get the KO. It's a lot to go through to KO a Whimsicott, though. It is a lot to do. Now, Snorlax is my boy, and I love him, and this is one of those cards that I predicted might end up getting one of those character rares. Could it be deserving of it? Well, the ability says prevent all effects of your opponent's attacks except damage done to this Pokemon. So you can still be damaged, but it means anything to try and get rid of energy doesn't work. Anything to get an automatic one-hit KO doesn't work, special conditions don't work, etc., etc. It's fine, but it's more of a specific thing. This isn't just going to randomly help against every possible deck. It's going to be a nice bonus here and there to stop energy denial, special conditions, things of that nature. You've then got free energy, hit like a log, 180 damage, go to sleep, flip 2 coins instead of 1 between turns. If either is tails, you're still asleep. And the thing is, we don't actually need to worry too much about this, because let's not forget that we've got that new Pokemon Tool card, Automated Arm, which will allow you to attack even when you're asleep. Yay! But you also kind of need Choice Belt here, so that you can attack. And that's kind of my problem. It's an issue, frankly. Because I need Choice Belt to do 210, so I'm not getting like every single Pokemon V, but I'm getting enough of them to make it worth it. But I need this other tool so I can attack while I'm asleep, which means I can't use Choice Belt. And I love this Snorlax. I think the artwork is great. I love that you're not affected by any effects other than damage from attacks. But I also think that it's kind of getting a little bit annoying, and that makes me sad. This attack could almost be good, but just not quite. And then we finish off with Ambipom. Now here, this could be very annoying. Single energy, flip a coin till you get tails. For each head, search your card for any deck and put it into your hand. And that means that if you can flip 2 or 3 heads in a row, and yes, I know that's not that likely, but if you can, you could be searching for a bunch of cards here and getting set up, and that would be amazing. You've then got 2 energy, 50 damage, discard a card from your opponent's hand without looking. The fact that it's without looking does make me a little bit sad. The fact that it's only 1 card does make me a little bit sad. And this is one of those ones where I worry it's just not enough. Good in theory, looks quite nice, but then you're constantly met with, well, it's not quite enough damage, well, it's only 1 card, well, I can't choose a card, and then you end up going, oh man, that Ambipom, that was almost good, but almost good just ain't enough. Never mind. There are some ones here which I do think do have a little bit of a shot. Beautifly has a nice ability, albeit on a stage 2. Clefairy is absolutely great, and this Snorlax could be very, very cool. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.